wonderful people. It's nice to see every one of you again. I believe your day is going so very well. Thank you for joining in again to continue the class which was started yesterday. Although we've gone a little bit far, but for the sake of those that were unable to follow up, I will be going back again to the installation process of the local server and the WordPress content management system. My name is Johnson Toluwani. I remain your instructor. I'm the principal partner of Ometas Media, who are the sponsor of this program. All right, so before we continue, there are some certain things I'd really want you to take note of. I said that in the previous lesson, in the previous class, that you really need to get all these tools that are needed downloaded and get everything ready for this class so you can have a smooth transition to everything you are watching right away. Okay, I will try as much as possible to explain all of this from every step to every step. Should in case you have one question or the other, please do feel free to drop your message or to drop your question on the Telegram channel, or as this class is going on, but just do your best to just follow up. Put off away side attractions. I tell you, this is one of the best things you would ever have chosen. Okay, so we'll go straight into this course, but before we do that, I would likely want to bring this up for the sake of those that are joining. This program is sponsored by Ometas Media in collaboration with GPL plugin teams. All right, I believe every one of you that have downloaded the plugins and some of the other tools, you must have done that on the GPL plugin teams, and by so doing, GPL plugin teams has given about 20% off to every student, or probably let me say everyone that has registered for this training. Isn't that wonderful? All right, so more information will be dropped or will be posted to the Telegram group. So we'll be starting off with the installation of the local server. Okay, after the local server, I'm going to show you how you could create your database, because everything you're going to build on in your WordPress content management are going to be written in the database. I explained in the previous video that how the MySQL works, PHP, MyAdmin, how it works and all of that. So we're still going to do everything one step after another. So please hold on while we continue that. All right. So here I have my software here. I have the other tools which I have recommended that you download here. So I'm going to be installing every one of them actually. So for the sake of every other person using different platform or using different operating system, that was the reason why we've come up with XAMPP server. Okay, because XAMPP server actually cut across other operating system. If not, personally, my preference has always been Laragon. If you want to just explore your own view, you could actually go and get Laragon. It's very, very easy. Okay, so let's go on with this installation. So just go on with me. All right, so I'm just going to be installing Laragon now, XAMPP server now. Sorry for that. So there is something you really need to understand. If you are conversant with installation of softwares on whichever OS you're using, I'm so very conversant with Windows. So the softwares you install in Windows operating system actually goes into the program files. Okay, whether it's a 64-bit or 32-bit architecture of your Windows application. Okay, so it actually goes into the program file, but for the purpose of this local server, it's not going into that place. So as your installation starts, you really need to follow up the prompt. Okay, please do ensure you follow up every step, because they are very, very important. One step missing could actually be something else. Of course, this video is going to remain on this channel. The Tech Minders is another platform from Ometas Media to enrich everyone out there in terms of technology. Okay, please, you could like, share, and subscribe. It's gonna go a very long way for the Ometas Media team. All right, so let's go on. So I will continue by clicking next. Okay, now all of this, you don't need to check anything, just leave them as they are. Just click next. Okay, now take note of where this thing is installing. So by default it's supposed to go to your C drive. Okay, by default it's supposed to go to your C drive, but in case it doesn't go into your C drive, this button at the side here, this folder icon here, you click it to select the location where it's supposed to be. So the location is ought to be in the C drive, not in any other folder. I believe that is understood. Okay, so in as much as if you have yours this way, you just go on and press next. Okay, you select your language. If you like yours to be in French, it's fine, but I will go with English. Okay, all right, so we'll begin the setup now on the computer. So the setup is beginning to unpackage files. Okay, so in no time the installation is going to be done. So I will be taking you through on how to create the database, because your database is so very significant when it comes to you building a website. Not just a website alone, when you're building other application, database is very, very important. So how you create your database is also another thing that is so important. Now somebody would ask, what is a database? Well, a database is just like a bank or it's just like a bank. Let me just put it like that: a bank where you store in informations. All right, so the way informations are being stored in the database is kind of structured. All right, that is where the SQL is coming from. It's this kind of structured system. It is a kind of a table where some of these things are being stored. So if you want to know more about that, well, probably I could do another video on database, but for the purpose of this training for the beginners, we could just leave it at that point. So I'm going to show you how you create your database. I'm going to show you how you get some of this other stuff done. Okay, all right, so let's proceed. Okay, so installation is almost done. It's very simple. So while this is going on, I will ensure I prepare this zip file. So in unzipping the WordPress, that is the file, I believe you must have downloaded yours. If you haven't, please refer back to the Telegram group. And if you don't have the Telegram group, you could just ask by the chat section. I'm going to be replying you with the link probably, or I will post the link to go to the group for those that have not really got into the group. But it is mandatory for you to register at least, so that we can actually take track of those that must have registered. Okay, so I'm going to be extracting this. So in extracting this now, like the previous video, I explained how you do the extraction, but I will be showing you how you're going to do the extraction. So for those that wouldn't have the third-party extractor, I would advise you to get a WinRAR extractor. The reason is because the WinRAR extractor actually extracts your zip file or your RAR file in such a fast manner that wouldn't slow down your system. But if you're using the default Windows extractor, you might have some little delay. So I will be opening mine here with a WinRAR. Okay, I'll be opening it with the WinRAR. You can see. So once the WinRAR is opened, my primary aim is to extract it to a folder. So let's check our installation if it's actually done. Yours might be a little bit faster compared to mine. Actually, I've gotten a lot of things chunked into my system. You know, I'm into we're into a lot of things. You know, as Meters Media. Been into video production, been into website development, applications, mobile applications, and all of that. So a lot has been just into the system. All right, so while we wait for this, I will just go on and extract, so that at the end of the extraction I could just cut the file and place it in the proper channel, in the proper folder, which I will be showing you in no time. Okay, so I'm going to be selecting all of this. All right, so I'm going to be extracting it to a location. Okay, now I will be going into my system. I believe you should be familiar with all of this with your computer. So the location we're actually looking at is the C drive. Okay, C drive. When you get to C drive, we have a folder here called XAMPP. You know the installation is already started, okay? So where you'll be extracting your files to is the htdocs. htdocs. I repeat, htdocs. Now the installation is requesting for some permissions. Please do allow the permissions, okay? That is the Apache, which is part of the things that is going to allow your local server to run. Now the essence of this local server is to simulate you being on the internet. In the previous video, I explained about the website, the origin, the evolution of website. I explained about the domain and the web hosting, okay? Probably in the course of this video, you might just look at the top, all right, or this side, whichever one. You would see the link there to go and get the other video, so you could see some of the explanation for those that do not really know much about domain and hosting. Although when we get there, when we'll be doing it practically, I'm still going to be showing you about the domain and the hosting, okay? So to go on with this, I told you we're going to be extracting it into the htdocs, okay? So inside of this htdocs, let's just extract into that htdoc. I'm going to be showing you further things to do. You could see how very fast this extraction is, okay? If you still want to give it a try, you could actually use your default Windows extractor to see the difference between the speed. All right, so we're done doing this. Now I'm going to start the XAMPP setup wizard, okay? I'm going to start it up, and I'm going to click on finish so that it can open, okay? So once it's opened this way, this is the control panel, all right? And the easiest way to see the outer part of it is always a local host. In the previous video, I also explained domain as a unique address, okay? The unique address for the local host is for this local server is the local host. Local host is just the name, just as you have www.abc.com. So this one is a local host, and the IP address behind the local host is 127.0.0.1. Okay, it's a universal thing for local host in most cases. Okay, there could be some other codes, but this is actually a kind of universal IP address for local server. All right, so in getting on with this, we're going to start the Apache. Okay, the Apache is needed. That is what simulates the internet. Okay, and the MySQL is going to work with is going to be the one that will work with the database. All right, that is a structured queried language. That is what SQL means. So the mine is just to make it it's just actually to make it maybe your personal thing, MySQL. Sometimes you have PHP, MyAdmin, and all of that. So we're going to start the MySQL also. These are the major things that you're going to start. So in starting that, your system might prompt you up for you to give it access to get through your firewall. Okay, so just give it access. These are part of the things that are needed. All right, so having done the two this way, okay, having done these two, we'll go to our browser. All right, we'll go to our browser, and on the browser you take in your local host. Like I told you, the domain, that is the unique identifier of any website. Okay, so on this place, instead of the dashboard, would forward. Sorry about that. So instead of coming to the dashboard, what we're looking out for is for the PHP MyAdmin. Okay, the PHP MyAdmin. All right, so we click on the PHP MyAdmin. Then once we are in, all right, so we create a new database. All right, so we create a new database. Let me just drop this database here since we're starting a new one. Okay, so you come over here and you create a new database. So I'll be entering Netflix DB. That's Netflix database. All right, so I will hit on create here. So once I hit on create, you can see the Netflix is over here, right? Okay, so the next thing to do now is to go to privileges. We're going to create a user for the privilege. All right, so for this we need to create a user. I initially wanted to remove this, but no problem. So we could just create a new user for this. So we can say Netflix admin. Okay, so that is our username, Netflix admin. So we're going to use a local host. You could actually use whatever you wish. Just ensure that you remember the username and the other credentials that you're going to create. Okay, so we'll enter our password. So ensure your password is a very strong one because of security reasons. All right, so you repeat the password again. So when you're done with the password, you come down here, you check all of this, so you could have the administrative power over this database, okay, in terms of the structure and in terms of the data. All right, so after all of this has been checked, then you hit on go, okay, so as to save it. All right, so you could see we've added a new user, right? So the next thing to do is to go and extract our WordPress. All right, earlier on I advised that you extract your WordPress using your WinRAR. All right, so when you extract your WordPress, you extract it to a location as a C drive, that is the htdocs, as I said earlier on. Okay, so we open it, we go to XAMPP, then we open it, then we go to htdocs. So that is where we are going to extract it to. All right, so having extracted the whole thing, then we rename the folder to the name of the website, the name we wanted the website to actually be. So once this is done, then we'll head over to that side. Okay, it's done now. So we go. So this is what I just extracted now, this WordPress, right? So I'm going to hit on this WordPress and I'm going to name it Netflix. Okay, so Netflix, mark the name Netflix. So on the other side here, we'll go to localhost /Netflix. Should in case any of this step you are not getting it, please just put your message down, all right, and we'll address it again. All right, so I'm going to hit on enter because this is our own local server website. All right, we're not on the internet yet. Okay, so this is how it goes off to load whatever content is inside that Netflix folder, the extracted WordPress. So now we'll start the installation of the WordPress. Okay, so we'll wait for this to get loaded. Remember, we've created our database. All right, so we just continue once this is up. So you could see this signal, it's loading as if we are on the internet, but in a nutshell, we're not really on the internet. So now it's here already. So at this point, you can even, when doing this, you can even turn off your internet so there wouldn't be any conflicts. But there's not going to be any conflict actually, but just to be on the safer side. So I'm going to select English. You can select English or any other languages you are convenient with. All right, so here we will be required to enter our database name, we'll be required to enter the database username, you'll be required to enter the database password and the host which we created earlier on. So we'll say let's go. Then you go back to the database. You know the database, this is the database name here, Netflix DB _DB. So we'll enter the Netflix _DB. Then the next username, we use the Netflix _admin as the username. Then you enter your password. Ensure you enter the password correctly. So now, because of this table prefix, now everything you're going to be creating is going to a table in your database. So for you to understand the prefix, you could actually skip this and just go ahead, but I think it is essential that you enter a table prefix. That is if you are installing more than one website in a database. Okay, so this prefix will help you to know which one is which. Okay, so for this course we're going to be using YP_Netflix. The WP stands for WordPress _Netflix. You could see we have it here, so we're going to submit it to establish a connection. We still have an error. Okay, let's see where we are not doing something well. Okay, over here you can see I wrote Netflix, not Netflix. All right, so you could just check that. So we should submit, should be very okay now. Okay, Netflix, Netflix.admin. So let's look at the user that was created here. Okay, that is under privileges. Okay, so this is a Netflix underscore admin. All right, okay, so let's go back there. Then you check on the password again to see if the password is actually okay. Now I had an issue with my password, so that was the reason why it was not. So now it should connect. All right, okay, I think it should connect now. Just ensure your credentials are okay, because if your credentials are not okay, there is no way you are going. You ensure your credentials are okay. Now we could see that there is a connection between the WordPress database, the WordPress content management system, and the database. So there's a connection, and so we run the installation to get started. All right, so after that we get to a welcome page where we are going to enter the details. So the details of the website is Netflix. We're going to enter the username. That is a Netflix admin. You could actually use any other username. You can use your name, but ensure you don't use admin, please, because it's very, very important. Admin is one of a common username that fall victim of a WordPress website hack. You understand? So for the password, you can actually go on with this to save it, but you could create your own password. All right, so I'm going to create my own password. I'm going to say Netflix project. So this is a weak password, but ensure your password is strong. So I'm going to confirm that my password is actually weak, that I'm aware the password is weak. So you enter an email. Now this email is going to serve as your administrative email. If anything happens to your website, that is the email that you're going to be contacted by WordPress. Okay, so you don't need to check this because you wanted your website to be visible on the internet and on search engine. So after this being done, then you click on install WordPress. So that is what I'm doing now. I'm going to install the WordPress. Then it's going to take us to the dashboard area of the WordPress. Now if we go back to the local host, I'm just going to show you something. All of these things, now you could see that all of this is success, right? So we're going to log in with the credentials that we created earlier. All right, so we had a Netflix underscore admin. Then we have a password, Netflix project. So ensure you remember your own password. Okay, so now we're going to log in. You could say remember me, but the security reasons I would not advise you to use remember me is this. If anybody should go to this address on your computer, there is every probability that it would all remain this way, and anybody can actually just open this up and see what your password is. Okay, so I wouldn't advise that. Just keep your credentials very safe then. So we log in. All right, so we've just logged in now, and having logged in now, the next thing to do is to get familiarized with what the dashboard is all about. Okay, this is the WordPress dashboard. So on the WordPress dashboard, this is the home. Here you get the updates of all other things that are needed. Now in the case of you building a blog, okay, this is where you can actually see all the posts for your blog. You can add new posts, you can create tags, you can create categories for your post. So you could actually build blogs. You understand? You could actually build blog, maybe a newspaper website or something, you know, where you could actually write stories and all of that. You can actually do that with this WordPress. So this other part is the media aspect. This media aspect entails where you could actually upload your music, you know, music file, your pictures, and some other relevant files that is accepted. You know, the cap for what you can actually upload is, I think, is 2 MB. All right, so this other part is the pages. So After you're done with all of your installations, that is, you install your local server. So once you get that part, it's a thumb up for you. When you get to connect it very well, or probably when you get to extract the WordPress into the right place and you are able to access it on your browser, that is another thumb up for you. And when you're able to connect both your WordPress and your database together, that's a very big one also to you. Now, after you've done that and you're able to log in, that's another good step for you. So on the pages, the next thing we're going to do after all of these installations and all of this is to start building, but we wouldn't build today. This is just to show you how to actually do the installations. All right, so this page actually shows all your pages. You could see all pages. Now, you could have seen some websites. You will see the home page, you will see about us, you see contacts, you see services and all of that. So I'm going to be showing you. There are some websites you get to, you will see on the menu, you understand, you will see some other step menu, you see some mega menu, like having a very large menu that are all standing side by side. I'm going to show you all of that when we get there, okay? So this comment is actually where you could see all the comment. That is if you get it activated for your website, okay? In a place where, in a situation whereby you created a website where you allow people to make some comment, this is where you could actually get comments. All right, so this appearance actually acts like the CSS, like I explained in the previous video. The CSS, that is where you see the time, that is where you could customize your theme if you're using a theme. All right, the plugins, so these are where you insert your plugins, you upload your plugins. As the name sounds, you plug something in. So these are predefined features, all right, by a third party, which you plug them into your WordPress. So this WordPress is made a content management system because it allows some other third-party features to come in to ensure that your website runs smoothly. Then this user, if I should go to this user, you would notice that the user that was created earlier, you would see that you could actually create more users for other people to log in. You can assign administrative power, administrative privileges to anyone. You could make them standard user, you could make them administrative user. All right, so this tool actually shows, you could see here the available tools. You could see import, export. You could actually export your website. You could import some other relevant things. You could see the health of your website, whether your website is running slow, maybe your website, maybe some of your plugins are out of date and all of that. You could actually see if there's an issue with your website, maybe there's some scripts that are not supposed to be in your website. You could actually get to know that maybe there is a bad script running in your website. This is where you could actually get to know that also. All right, so here you could erase personal data and all of that, so you could actually explore when you get to do this. Then the settings, you could see general settings, the writing, the reading, discussion, the media, the permalinks. Now the permalinks, let me start from the general. Actually the general actually shows you some other configurations that you could that will be beneficial to your website, like the way your website is going to look, the link, you understand. So that is just what all of these are all about. But for the sake of this video, I just want you to take it step by step. I don't want to rush you too much, okay? I don't want to rush everything. So when we get to this level, then in the next video we're going to look at all of these tabs one after the other. Then I would explain in details what each and every one of them, what they do. So but for this, before I go, for today we're going to install all the plugins that I've asked you to download, okay? So we're going to installed plugins. Usually there are some default plugins that comes with WordPress installations, and these are Akismet anti-spam. It works for those that does blog, where you have people to comment and all of that, but of course you would have to register by the time you get this activated. But for the purpose of the project that we intend to replicate, the Netflix website, let me just go to the Netflix website so you could see Netflix, I think netflix.com or so. So while that one is loading, let's just continue. So I usually remove all of this. This Hello Dolly also helps in one or two things. You could find out more about that, but I usually remove all of this so we could have a clean installation. So I delete them. Okay, they are not yet installed, they are not yet activated, but they are installed by default. So we are going to be installing. Now installation comes in two ways. If you are not connected to the internet, if you remember, we're working on a server environment, but because I'm connected to the internet to be able to make this video provided for you, you understand? So that is the reason why I'm still on the internet. But all of these things we've been doing all the while, if you are not connected to internet, you are still very good to go. Everything would work as if you are on the internet. So it gives you two ways, should in case you are connected to the internet. All right, so the first way, when you say add plugin, okay, it would, if you're connected to the internet, it will show you some other available plugins online, okay, on the internet. But our focus is not actually to get plugins installed from the internet. Okay, now all of these plugins, they all have their free version and they all have their paid version. Okay, their free version just limits you to some features, while the pro version or the paid version would give you the full potentiality of what you are actually looking for. But in this case, we are going to be uploading the plugin. Okay, so here I'm going to be uploading the plugin. Now over here, you could actually drag it. You could actually drag your plugin to this place, or you choose the file by clicking this place. So in this sense, we're going to be choosing the file. So you navigate to where the file is. Okay, now navigating to where the file is. Now these are the files you have been required to install or to use for this training. All right, so we have the Elementor. That is the builder. There are several builders out there. There is a DV builder, there's a Beaver, there's a JS Composer, there is a Gutenberg. There are so many other builders, but one of the most popular website builder is the Elementor, which gives you the drag and drop feel. Understand? So we are going to install this Elementor. This free version actually enables you to make use of some certain things. There is a pro version also, which if you want to get the pro version, like I said, this training has given us 20% off anything you want to buy on GPL plugin themes. So you could just do well if you want to explore the pro version of this to have full functionalities. So we're not going to activate this yet. We will go back to the plugin installer so that we can install some other plugins also. I believe you're following. All right, so we're going to upload another one. Okay, now the other one we're going to upload is the essential add-on for Elementor. Now this essential add-on is a kind of a plugin that entails some pro versions of the Elementor. You could actually see it in their the free user, in the free access for this plugin. Okay, so this plugin actually contains some pro versions or some pro features of the Elementor Pro to use. That was the reason why I recommend this for you. But there's something you need to understand, that the more your plugin is, the more it's going to weigh your system down. It's going to weigh your website down. So ensure you try to limit your plugins. So with time, I'm going to show you some other plugins that could actually do some more functions instead of installing 2, 3 more or 4 plugins. You understand? There are actually plugins that could do more than one functions. So I'm still going to show you that with time. All right, when we get to the security aspect, I'm going to be showing you that. Okay, so I'm going to install the last plugin, and before that, you could see the website we are going to replicate. All right, you could see all of this. It might look like it's a very big something, but I bet you it's very simple. We're going to replicate this view, this website as it is like this. We're going to replicate it, and we're going to do it step by step. I think in the next class, that is next week, Friday. This week Friday. This week we're going to do that in the next video. Okay, so what we need to do now is to upload the last file, which is the Elementor footer. That's the header and footer. I'm going to tell you what it does. Okay, like a part of element of a website. I'm going to show you that when we start building the website. I'm going to show you elements of a website, the hero page, the menu, okay, and some other segments of the website as you, depending on the kind of project you're actually working on. Like this is the footer, you understand? So that is what that plugin actually does. So we'll get it installed. All right, so having installed all of this, we would see how our website looks without starting anything yet, you understand? So let's take a look at how the website looks. So before we go to that, we'll go back to the plugin installer and activate all of these plugins. So currently we have 3 major plugins to use. Of course, the website installation of WordPress actually comes with a theme. We'll go over there too to see the theme. So now we'll go to installed plugins to review all the plugins that has been installed. Okay, all right, so having seen all the installed plugins, we're just going to check all of them at the same time and have a bulk action being worked upon all of them. So I'm going to click this button to actually check all of them. You can see we have the Elementor here, and we have the Elementor header and footer builder and the essential add-ons for Elementor, like add-ons in their addition, you understand? So we're going to change this bulk action, and we will select the activate, then we click on apply, you understand? So it can activate all of these 3 at the same time instead of activating them individually, you understand? So once this is done, then let's open another new tab and see. So you go to localhost -Netflix. So here is going to review the default installation of the website. Why do I keep making Netflix? Okay, all right, now this is the sample of Elementor, the sample of a WordPress. You could see this is just a sample. So by the time we start creating pages and all of that, we would actually see how it goes. So this is just a chance for those that were unable to follow up yesterday because of the issues, some of the little issues we had yesterday. But I believe from henceforth we shouldn't be having issues as a reason of this video. Okay, so from our next class, we are going to be shown how to create pages and how to build actual pages, all of these pages, using this page builder that we've just installed. So please do like, share, and subscribe to this Tech Minders channel, please. That is a way you could actually encourage us to keep doing all of this. All right, it doesn't take you much to actually hit the subscribe button, to hit the like button. Okay, so we're going to call it a day from here. All right, so I'm going to see you some other time when we continue with the training. So just try and do all of this. Should you have any difficulty, feel free to drop it in the group and we'll address all of it. So till we meet another time, please do ensure to try all of this. You wouldn't do yourself good if you don't try this, and you wouldn't know your capacity if you don't give it a try. Even if you experience any error, you could screenshot your error, you could send it to the Telegram group, and everything will be addressed. Okay, so see you next time